Everyone, welcome to Cars and Bids. Today we are going to go through some Hoovie auction tips. This is Hoovie of Hoovie's Garage. He buys and sells cars more than anybody in the world.
That's not true.
It's probably true. Okay, there's CarMax and then there's Hoovie.
Exactly, yeah.
So
the pooper scooper of automotive YouTube is here, yes.
All right, so Hoovie, he buys and sells cars. He buys cars at every platform. Our site, physical auctions, other auction sites, private parties, dealers. He sells cars through all those platforms as well. He's done everything. He's sold and bought cars at every possible turn.
I lose money everywhere, yes.
And so with that in mind, Hoovie, a big money loser, give us some tips about what we should know about buying cars and selling cars at auction. Do you have any tips offhand? I got a bunch of tips.
Okay, I mean, a lot of the tips that you have, just beat on people over and over again, because, I mean, obviously, I'm known a little bit from YouTube, but still, I take the time to have somebody take really good pictures of the cars, obviously. And that, it's not me, and it's the Hoovie's Garage. I bet half the people who buy my cars really barely know me, don't know me. I don't add any value to it. It's just those photos, obviously.
Yeah. Pictures are my biggest tip.
Yeah.
Period. If I was to give one piece of advice to sellers of cars, take great photos. Do not take a picture of your car in your driveway. Do not take a picture of your car with another car behind it. Do not take a picture of your car with a puddle. Don't pay for pro photos. It's $250 and you will get back $250. That's one bid. You'll get that back tenfold with good pictures.
Yes. And the next thing I would say, and it's weird that a lot of people don't do this. And of course, it's great that you disclose all the issues that you can, but if they are easily solvable, fix them. Yeah. I mean, just fix them. If a power seat motor doesn't work, and it doesn't matter because you've been sitting in it for 5 years, fix the darn seat motor. I mean, all these little things where you see it in the disclosures, I'm able to get some fantastic, amazing deals because people didn't want to spend $800, $1,000, $1,200 sorting out their car to make it be all it can be. And I do that every single time. My mechanic usually inspects it. And yeah, there's one or two, like a Bentley Turbo R has a little bit of an oil leak, but it's not something that's really hitting the ground. Okay, I get that. It's a little, but little electronic things that are easily solvable or
tailgate struts.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't. I don't understand why people don't sort out their cars like a normal car dealer should or would to get the most money they can.
If you want retail money, and people do, dents. PDR. How hard is paintless dent removal? A guy comes to your house, does it in an hour for $99, or maybe $200. I don't know what they cost. I don't know, but it's cheap.
Right.
And that individual thing is such an easy way to tell. Has a seller, how much do they care? I always tell people when they're buying cars from auctions or any private party, you're not buying the car, you're buying the seller. And if a guy has it like a power window motor, dude, fix that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it makes no sense. I mean, it doesn't compute at all of, obviously the repairs cost money. I get you don't want to spend any more money on a car that you're selling, but the return will be more than what you spent. Guaranteed every time, because people like me buying cars that are a project that need issues, they want them cheaper, obviously. And it's way cheaper than what it costs to fix them, because anyway, it doesn't work out for me because I lose money on my cars. But anyway, it's just the mentally like, okay, I need to get a deal on this thing because it has these issues. And if you don't have any serious issues, obviously you're going to get a lot more money.
And everybody just thinks, okay, if the seller has neglected this stupid little issue, what else has he neglected that is actual? And that stops people from bidding. That's what people don't get. They're like, oh, I'll sell the car, it's got the airbag light on, whatever. But I'm sitting there thinking, it's got the airbag light on, what else has this idiot not addressed that I'm gonna then have to? And that's what holds me back. It's not the airbag light, it's not the window regulator.
Yes.
It's the thought that if a person can't even be bothered to do that, to wash the car.
Yeah, well, the engine bay detail especially. A steam cleaner with an engine bay, and it makes the car look so much different versus popping the hood and showing a dusty. Obviously nothing wrong with the engine, but it doesn't present well.
A good detail in pro photos will get people back so much more than the cost of those things.
Yeah.
And some people are like, I don't care, I just want to get rid of it. It's like, yeah, and then those are the same people who come to us later, didn't bring as much money as I thought. Well, I look at the pictures on some of these cars and I'm like, this looks terrible.
Yeah.
Like this, of course, it didn't bring as much money as you thought. And
Right.
we beg our sellers. You should see what we have to do sometimes, just pulling teeth. And some sellers just drop out. They're like, I can't take any more photos. Meanwhile, they didn't submit a single photo of the entire car in the frame. You know?
Right.
And I'm like, fine. Like, I don't want those cars on the site anyway, frankly, because they're just not going to bring the money. And then people look at it like, well, Cars and Bids couldn't get X dollars for this car.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking this car was so poorly presented, even though I know it's a nice car. So photos is one, fixing little things.
Yeah, the video, if the photos are hard, then a video is going to be even harder for somebody. But I mean, really, it gives so much peace of mind just doing a simple 360 walk around, getting in, starting the car. A modern iPhone can do this so well if it's not windy outside.
People don't have an excuse.
Yeah.
You got it on your phone.
You start up, you put it in gear, you go for a drive. You don't even have to talk. Yeah, I know, like, some people don't want to talk. When I do this, I try not to put my blabbing mouth into it because people want to see the car.
Right.
And it really only takes
10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
Nothing. It doesn't have to be high quality. Nobody cares about that. What they care about is they want to make sure it's cold, starts up, drive it a little, like you said, shift's okay. That's all people care about. Literally all. So you think video's big. What else you got? Presentation in general, I think is big. Getting the car clean, like you said, steam clean. Something that I personally can't stand, honestly, is like something over the license, like a brag over the license plate. We don't allow thumbs. We don't allow thumbs over the license plate, but like people will still do the rag. And that's another one where I think to myself, I was on a Facebook group, Exotic Cars for Sale Facebook group the other day, and there was a guy trying to sell an SF90, crazy marked up SF90, which that car is dead. And to cover the license plate, he put an iPhone over it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking, this dude wants $1 million for this car, and he can't even unscrew a license plate. By the way, I think it's insane that people cover their license plates anyway. I openly post pictures of my license plates all the time, and not worried. But if you're gonna cover it, or if you don't want it there, unscrew. These people can't be bothered to unscrew a license plate. So then again, I'm thinking, this seller is obviously lazy.
Right.
What has he been lazy about with the maintenance and R&D?
Yes, I mean, definitely how you present yourself is, I mean, they're buying the car, but they're also buying you as the seller. And so not being, when people are asking, there's a lot of annoying commenters, obviously. A lot of people that are never going to buy a car that are going to leave little snide comments, little accusations that you did something horrible to the car and you're a horrible person. And you just absolutely cannot, bite back at them in that sense. And same with, people making what you think are inane, stupid requests. It's worth it. Just go out to the garage and
take
do
a
the thing
picture
they
under
want.
the car.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's not hard.
Good grammar as a seller.
Oh, yes.
Sellers that write letter U as you are as you are.
Yeah, caps lock off.
Yep.
Please.
I swear to God, those people get 20% less from their car. And you know the real problem is when we accept cars like this, we don't know who you're going to be. Because when a car comes in, and let's say an E395 comes in, there's a $5,000 value swing depending on presentation, seller, photos. If it's a great seller, I'd give them the reserve they asked for, 100%. But I don't know what they're going to be when they first submit it. And so you got to kind of knock them down. And they're like, what do you mean? This is going to bring more. And I'm thinking to myself, it'll bring more if you're good.
Right.
But I don't know that you're going to be good. And sometimes they are, and sometimes they aren't. But presentation is for sure.
Yes.
Of yourself, of your car. Definitely.
Yes. You're communicating throughout the auction. Obviously, you see dealers, and there's a lot of dealers on Cars and Bids that they have a pretty good system of, they're checking in almost every day, or they're adding a little tip or something. I mean, you don't want to be over the top, just writing novels or anything.
Right.
But just show that you're warm and friendly and open to discussing the car, obviously.
Because another big one is sellers who don't comment.
Yeah.
And don't say anything. Those cars never sell. People just have no confidence. And we note, we have like a back end system to note people, and we say this person did not ever comment in their listing. And we generally don't take cars from them again because that's not how you. The whole point of the auction site.
There was one that I was bidding on, like a mystery Fisker Karma, where nobody was, they posted it and then there was no comments.
And sometimes you get that. And it's like we prompt them on the back end, hey, comment. But if they don't, nobody's going to want to take that risk.
Yeah.
And so I would say that of our cars that don't need reserve, some portion of them is because the seller simply wasn't like active enough.
Yeah.
And that happens.
But in that instance, the only people bidding were dealers. And you could go and check their profile and see, okay, a dealer's bidding on this for resale.
So they're trying to get it wholesale.
Right. And that's the only people who are gambling, obviously, because
Right.
they're willing to gamble because it's their business, not somebody,
Right.
a retail buyer coming in and
trying to buy it for themselves.
Exactly.
And that's one of the reasons why I say you're buying the seller, and why we can't give everybody the same reserve, because we don't know what type of seller they're going to be. Sometimes someone will submit a car with amazing photos and they say, I'm going to take 4K videos, and you can just tell, okay, this person's legit.
Yeah.
But usually you're rolling the dice, and sometimes they don't say anything.
Yeah, I mean, the location where you take the photos is another big thing as well. Your driveway, just go somewhere nice, whether
Go
it be
somewhere that makes people want the car.
Yeah.
That Camaro and that whatever it was.
a Mormon church parking lot. That's that seems to be successful for somebody.
Yep.
But
Yeah. Okay, those are big things. What do you think about location of where you are? You're kind of in the middle of the country, which is probably helpful in some ways, but also you're in a place where no one can really visit
right,
you.
I've never had someone come see the car before they bid on it. It's always been somebody taking on faith remotely. So, but yeah, I am within.
So shipping is easy for
$1,500 open transport of anywhere in the 48 US. So that helps, yeah.
But the drawback of your location might be, have you ever considered the fact that maybe some people get more in Southern California, New York area, Chicago, Florida, Texas, because people can see the car?
I've never thought about that. I've always been very happy with what cars have brought with me on Cars and Bids. And, so.
What do you think about time of year?
Oh, well, the cars are seasonal, certainly, as far as convertibles, buying them in the fall and winter.
Convertible, sure. But what about just general cars?
Man, it seems like, at least when I was a dealer and when I'm buying and selling, I seem to gather my nuts in the holidays when people are focused on that and spending money there and their holiday breaks, and then into January, February until the tax money starts coming a little bit. And that's when it seems to be, I don't know how it is for you guys the slowest, but that's when I'm able to usually find my best deals personally.
Interesting. I think so too. Or just people don't, they just wait.
Yeah.
Which can be pro or con. Like if you have the only whatever on the market at that time, maybe someone pays up for that.
Right.
What do you think about reserve versus no reserve?
Oh, geez, no reserve every time. Yeah.
Now that people are going to watch this and say that's easy for you to say because your following is such that you can always attract viewers to your audience.
Yeah, I think the no reserve gets a lot more attention as far as.
And by the way, our data proves that our no reserve auctions get like 20% more views and bids.
Not only so, if you're worried about it going for less than what a dealer would offer, dealers, they see the no reserve. They're like, okay, and then there are usually 3, 4, 5, 6 of them watching it just in case. Like, okay, I can get this to flip it. Because they won't, if it's a normal auction and they see that there's a reserve on it, they're like, well, whatever.
Not going to bother. Because they don't want to spend the time and then lose.
Yeah.
That is the point that I want to make to everybody. It's like, look, because the biggest thing people say about not wanting to go no reserve, what if my 911 sells for $3,000? And I want to say to them, that's possible on some sites that like have no traffic.
Right.
But like we got 400,000 users or something, 300,000 users. There's dealers.
Yes.
At the very least, you're going to get wholesale. And I tell these people, if it's going to go for $3,000, I will buy it.
Right.
I literally say that to them when I'm helping them set the reserve.
Yes.
Like, I will literally purchase the car. But of course, that never happens, and it has never happened. And so that's the point that I want to try to make to some of these people is like, wholesale is almost guaranteed.
Right.
Beyond wholesale, what I want to tell them is like, you are the reserve. Your presentation, your photos, the way you talk in the auction, you are the reserve at that point. You will be the difference between getting wholesale and getting a real retail number.
Yes.
And that is why I feel like every really good seller should go no reserve. Do you think there are exceptions to that, where you wouldn't go no reserve?
I mean, if it's something that you're really, really, I guess, maybe something that's well into the 6 figures, that there's a lot of comps that you really want to protect. I would say, if it's a significant investment, it may make sense to do that. Where we're talking $250,000, $500,000, something like that. Obviously, no reserving a Countach, everybody's going to freak out. Oh my God, I have to watch this. You're going to have thousands of people watching.
So it's like a double-edged sword. It's like obviously you want to protect yourself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know that if there's a no reserve Countach, it's going to blow up. And so the question is like, which risk am I willing to take?
But I totally get somebody. That's a really significant investment, wanting to protect that a little bit. But if you are like, okay, we're selling this no matter what, it's not going to be a $500,000 Countach that's going to sell for $100,000. It won't happen. I'll be there bidding on it. I'll be there, you know.
Right, everyone would.
Yeah,
and that's true. That's obviously true. And so, like, at the end of the day, you're going to get at least a certain amount of money, and I think that that's important.
Yeah.
I've also always told people to put a reserve price on if the car is so weird that there are just no comps. We get that submitted sometimes, like really unusual or bizarre stuff that you don't know it could sell for 10 or it could sell for 60.
Certainly.
I always prefer to sell stuff like that no reserve.
So some fresh, like funky JDM thing just off the boat that nobody sold before.
That kind of stuff is hard to price, and sometimes the market just isn't there for that.
Yeah.
And you're in it for a lot of money, and it's like, maybe this wasn't the right move.
Yeah.
But the majority of cars I look at, like the biggest one that annoys me, Caymans and Boxsters. People put reserves on it. I can tell you to the dollar what a 987 Cayman will sell for on our site.
Right.
There's no variation. There are so many comps between us and Brady Trailer and all the other websites that, like, it's so obvious. Certain year, certain mileage, manual or automatic, certain options. It is gonna sell for that. It never doesn't.
Right.
And people still insist on a reserve. And I'm like, I think that if you took the reserve off, you might get a little more because it adds to the excitement. But I guarantee with the reserve, it's gonna be this.
This is starting to feel a little less like Hoovie Tips and a little bit more of a therapy session with Doug on sellers and their reserves and things.
Okay, all right, let's move
anyway.
on. What are some other Hoovie tips that you got for us?